Hey y'all, welcome to the Mushroom Cast. I am Andrew Reed with Mossy Creek Mushrooms, and today, whoa, that's my bad, and I cannot turn it down. Oh my gosh, that was terrible. And today's topic is winging it. Oh my goodness. All right, well, with me is my ever lovely wife, Samantha. Thank you.
And I'm Josiah, and I'm really glad that I wasn't the first one to leave my phone on. I was totally afraid of doing that.
You're welcome. All right, then. Well, Josiah, we're winging it.
We are. We're winging it today.
And I asked you if that was an okay topic.
Yeah. And it was okay because we both had apparently the same kind of week where we took on too much.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I certainly did. My problem is, like, I'm gardening right now, right? Because it's spring and the gardening's getting going. And I've been out in the garden playing around, especially with my little water gardens. And, I completely forgot to study anything for the Mushroom Cast. So, yeah. I don't know what yours was filled with, but...
It was, I was building a chicken run.
So yes,
weekend.
not
I was outside.
projects.
No, it was, dude, it was gorgeous this weekend.
Yes.
Came home from the farmer's market, and yeah, that was what we did. Just went back outside. Plus, Corinne is just like living outside now.
Good.
So, oh, dude, I love it. It makes me so happy. But yeah, we had some issues with coyotes lately. So,
and your chickens?
yeah, a chicken.
Oh,
but we've
ouch.
we've got it. Well, thankfully, just one. But
How many
so far,
chickens
so
do you guys have?
We have 9 now.
Do you ever give them mushroom compost or mushroom substrate?
Yeah, actually, a lot of the times. So they've lived in a chicken tractor for a while. It's kind of deteriorated, and so that's why I was building this. So they haven't moved quite as easily, and we like to build them a pile with the spent blocks, and it's easy to shift and put them on top of that. They freaking love it.
Oh man, I bet that gets full of worms.
It
too.
does, yeah.
That's
So we
crazy.
build them
Okay.
a pile in the run now. We'll just throw them over there, and when we would let them out more often. So before this run, I just let them out of the tractor a lot, and they'd run all over the yard, and they knew where the spent block pile, where we'd throw them up outside the back door, and so every time we'd come clean it up, the chickens know they just come running, and there's worms everywhere. I love
Funny.
it.
Someone actually said it on here. Ren is currently outside with the chickens.
Hey, there you go. That's Aaron.
Oh, okay. Well, hello, Aaron. Glad that you're tuning in with us.
Love it.
Well, Samantha, will you keep an eye on the chat and see if there are any questions or anything that we need to answer?
Absolutely.
And feel free to interrupt us because today we're winging it. So, so we're not doing chickens. We've done chickens, we've done goats, we've done geese, we've done ducks, and everything that I can think of, except we've never done quail. And we now have our quail. Our first set are going to go into the adult cages tomorrow, and our ones that we have in the incubator are going into the brooder that these are leaving tomorrow. So, or maybe the day after.
Are these all over in the back over there?
Yeah,
They're here?
Yeah, they're here.
Okay.
Yeah, and
All
they're
right,
gonna
check them out.
So we'll have the adult cages set in the back of the shop.
Yeah.
And then the brooder is going to be inside because, of course, that's little ones. Now, we'll say that Cartman, our pest control, decided that these were pests and actually killed 3 or 4 of them. So we've had to learn how to basically keep him out.
Yeah. Oh, he's not going to learn.
No.
So that's...
No, he won't learn. He
You're
won't learn at
building
all.
a coop
In
inside,
fact,
yeah.
I actually walked.
drive.
I walked in one day, and we were covering it with shelves, like the same shelves we use for the rolling cart shelves.
Yeah.
You know, they've got those gaps.
Yeah, he's reaching down.
He was literally like a toddler. He had him like he's just going like that the whole time, and he legitimately got one that way. He just like hit it right on the head, and the thing, we had to put it out of its misery because he had hit it just hard enough that it was walking around like it was never coming back. So, like, he caused brain damage to it or something. But he was just playing, having a great time, and of course it was terrible. So look at that Samantha. She's so it killed her.
So when I was out here the first time, we briefly talked about it. You have like a goal to kind of make that a full cycle, right? Where
as much as possible. I'm not sure how much I'm going to be able to. But I can show you the insect racks too. I know I've done it before, but we've got superworms, we've got mealworms. We tried roaches. I wasn't impressed. The problem with roaches is they're way too efficient.
Okay.
So you need a massive number to get them to eat that stuff down at all. The superworms so far seem to be the best at chowing down on the substrate, but the mealworms seem to be the best at producing on the substrate.
Okay.
You want to go into what kind of roaches? Because that gives me the immediate heebie-jeebies.
So these were red runners. They're a tropical roach. It's not like a German cockroach, which is the common house. You've got an American cockroach. You've got German cockroaches. Those are the pest ones in the house. If these get out, they legitimately, unless they can find tropical temperatures, they can't breed at reduced temperatures. It slows their metabolism down too much.
We also tried the Madagascar hissing cockroaches.
Yeah, and they're just way too slow because they just sit there. That's all they do. And also they're way more armored, and the birds had a harder time with them. Now, we'll say the ducks didn't seem to have much of a problem. They just kind of squished them. Yeah. Which was kind of gross, but
a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit gross. Like it was but
and our audience just plummeted.
Yeah, did it?
No.
No, okay. But the whole idea for me is to take the spent mushroom substrate and grow another crop off of it. And we've been doing that with our garden beds. And so our raised beds, like this year, we planted sweet potatoes and tomatoes and tobacco and what else cucumbers, zucchini, beets, like all that kind of stuff. And what we did was we just did like hugelkultur, which is in our raised beds, we put down big sticks and branches, and then just massive amounts of mushroom spent substrate, and then just top that off with about a foot of, maybe 6 inches to a foot of just like mulch, cow manure, and topsoil. And that so far seems to have been like a really, really good mix. Everything's perking up and loving it. So that's like a way to get another crop off of your blocks. But then I thought, well, if I can feed something and grow insects off of that the insects will leave the frass, their remains, and all of that frass is amazing to plant in as well. So we'll still get the benefits of planting, but we'll have extra protein coming out of those blocks. So which mushrooms are not a good protein supplement. They're high in amino acids, but not high in protein. Yeah. But then you get that kind of amino acids out of it. Now you're getting mealworms, and superworms, which are heavy protein, and superworms have a lot of fat in them. So they make excellent food for other animals. Apparently they make excellent food for us. I'm not doing that unless we're like legitimately in fallout territory. I'm not going to do that. But we've got catfish fingerlings coming in, quail, and we'll be feeding all these insects to them. I know that's a long way to go to get kind of explain, but yeah, I'm hoping to do a whole closed loop like that. So, quail innards and all that stuff will go to the dogs, and quail eggs and meat will go to us. And from there, hopefully we'll just have lots of good protein and extra crops coming out of the whole system. To kind of give you an idea, I've been thinking that almost every farm should grow mushrooms. Like that's legitimately something I've been thinking for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, starting at the ground level right there, it seems.
I've almost got like
idea.
this vision in my head for like centralized block production that then ships out to just every type of produce farm.
Yes.
The produce farmer then gets its like basic fertility off of that, and then you've just got crap tons of mushrooms. So
I've tried to start the workings of this with people at the farmers market. I feel like that also, like, I don't know, step back. There's going to be mushrooms like crazy at the farmer's market before long.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, I mean, people are going to, catch on that it's not. I mean, that you can do that. You can, if you can find blocks,
then it's easy to grow.
you probably have room, to bust out a few.
Well,
Well,
go ahead, Samantha.
it's nice to have, that kind of inward cycle economy within your own farm, and then be able to eat as a family on multiple aspects of your own farm, but then also to diversify your income, diversify your food on your table, and just diversify the products at the farmer's market too, because I mean, everyone's coming, they want to see something interesting and new and exciting and fun and cool, and
and then when you find out, like, oh man, I'm growing tomatoes, and now I get to plant my tomatoes and spent substrate, but also my chickens get to eat out of the worm pile that I just made. Like, it becomes a really big boon to just a regular farm. I don't know, and like, harder to grow mushrooms, like a gnocchi or things like that, that would still be like massive mushroom farms, but stuff like oysters could be
absolutely
everywhere.
Yeah.
So Rob has asked if the catfish are an aquaponics setup.
They're going to be, but at first it'll be just plain aquaculture. I have goldfish in my current setup. My hope would be to actually switch them out for catfish, like blue channels, to use as basically the aquaponics setup will be for my breeders. And then when we have a massive amount come out, we will probably stock something, just an aquaculture setup that gets fed off the mushroom waste products.
I've also, something that I've noticed that you do is you'll just kind of let things compost. You'll have that vermicompost going, and you'll take the tea off of that and then pour it into
my aquaponics setup.
The aquaponics setup. And I just see there's an explosion of growth I noticed directly after you started doing that.
So they call it worm wee or whatever. It's not. It's just the drippings that come through, like my worm tower or whatever. Yeah. But all I do is I'll like save that up, and when it gets full, I just trickle that into each fish tank. Yeah. And man, like Samantha's talking about, it'll just be an explosion of just plants coming out. And where we do a lot of, I feel like aquaponics is done really wrong in this day and age. I feel like we're trying to grow terrestrial plants that you typically see on a plate, like tomatoes and salad greens and all that stuff on aquaponics. Aquatic plants are already evolved to take up stuff higher up in the nitrogen cycle. So you get an ammonia spike, but bacteria that change ammonia to ammonium grow much faster than the ones that go from ammonium to nitrate. And a lot of these aquatic plants, like water spinach, water cress, can uptake ammonium directly and feed off that. In fact, a lot of these aquatic plants if they get nitrogen, have to basically pull that nitrogen back apart and put it back up into the nitrogen cycle in order for them to be able to consume it properly. So if we do edible aquatic plants, that stuff grows like wildfire. When you throw that worm wee and stuff in there, it'll, like, I've seen my water spinach grow like a foot in a day. So
that's very cool.
I'm excited by it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's we
eat a lot of weird meals at my house.
But that's cool. That's
we just kind of wing it.
Hey, that I mean, and they're weird because you're trying to lean into the stuff that is evolved to grow there, right? That is weird now.
Yeah, I'm looking at what works in the system first, more than what my taste buds go with first. Okay. But that said, there are some really tasty water plants. Like water chestnuts are amazing. I love water chestnuts. Okay. They're so easy to grow. Watercress, as long as the water is moving, watercress grows incredibly quickly. Water celery is basically just like a leafy version of celery. It's more leafy than stalk. Yeah. But it contains all the same stuff.
It is now my new favorite.
Yes, Samantha was caught grazing on the water celery yesterday.
Yeah, I really like it. It's got a more robust flavor. It's not as watery.
Do you like regular celery?
I do, but I don't like the crunch string. I hate that. I do not like that.
Gotcha.
It's a texture thing.
Yeah.
But the water celery is just really tender, and the stalks are very small. You don't get that stringiness to it. Instead, it's really smooth. I really, really enjoy it. I like it a lot.
Enough to graze on it.
Enough to graze on it and sit there and
That's awesome.
tease the goldfish and nibble at the same time.
Well, and it's so I actually had high blood pressure problems a while back. But whenever I was having high blood pressure problems was probably when we were at our poorest, when we didn't have health insurance and all that kind of stuff. So I was just reading about herbal remedies, right? And celery was one of those. Like if you eat a certain amount of celery, supposedly your blood pressure will plummet. I am not a health expert, so don't take this. But for me, I just basically started eating a celery heart a day, which is a lot of celery.
It's a lot of celery.
It is.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, I would eat it with like sun butter and cranberries and all that kind of stuff. So I actually really enjoyed it. And then I would just use celery seed as a seasoning. And man, like within a week, my blood pressure was down on the low side of normal. It was amazing. Like it was, you could feel the difference.
Yeah.
Well, the water celery is the same way. So I grow it just so I can continually eat it. You know, you just cut the greens, throw it in a pan, cook it up. What's up, babe?
So John said that he read that oyster mushrooms became super popular during World War I and World War II as a subsistence crop. And then he said that he's also worked on ranches that wouldn't compost woody things like sunflowers because they wouldn't break down. They really needed mushrooms to help generate soil from unusable material. And I mean, we've done that with our okra stalks and our tomato stalks and our sunflower stalks and our sunchoke stalks and just throwing it all in one big pile and just letting it disintegrate.
Oh, yeah.
And it's done really, really well instead of having all that refuse, laying everywhere, just taking up space.
Yeah, our sunchokes, Jerusalem artichokes, grow 12, 13, 14 feet tall with all their little sunflower heads or whatever.
Yeah.
We use them as a screen for our back porch.
Yeah, so
and
we
all
get
the
privacy.
finches come and just, swing back and forth on them, and it's just fun to watch them.
Well, and we leave the dry stalks in the wintertime so those finches have like a protective place to live.
Yeah.
But when the spring comes, we knock all that stuff down so the new growth can come up, and then we throw that into. Sometimes we just crush it up and throw it in garden beds, but our garden beds are so full of mushroom substrate, the stuff gets consumed quick. So.
Yeah, and we actually just found a finch nest. We moved our garden hose, and Andrew uncovered one. So
I had a water hose like wrapped up on the back porch.
Yeah.
And she had I picked up the water hose and then realized I was like, man, what did my kids throw in here? It wasn't something my kids did. The bird had built a nest in the center of the water hose coil. And I was like, well, I'd already pulled it out and I saw the eggs in there. I was like, I don't know what to do because she's going so I just moved it over and then built like a little house around it to keep the rain off of it. And she moved right back in there. So I've been working out there on the back porch, and she's just a few feet away from me, pretending I don't see her. And I'm pretending I don't see her. She's pretending, I guess, that she doesn't see me, and we're just hanging out.
And just hanging out.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that about World War I or World War II. I've got that would actually be some really interesting information to find. So we'll look into that.
I remember, back in the day, my grandparents farming tobacco and corn, and they would just kind of switch depending on what the government would subsidize and kind of pay for.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember them trying to get tobacco farmers to switch over to other crops, especially since there were so many of them at a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
They were trying to get people to diversify. But that said, Tristan has a question about fruiting temps.
Okay.
With Black Pearl Kings. But he said, I have some Black Pearl Kings, among others, that won't start fruiting, and it's been 2 weeks. I think I need to drop my temp below 70 or so, but I have no AC. Tips, ice, what could he use? No AC, that's pretty...
That's rough, and that is
That's
getting
harsh.
high in the temp
Yeah,
for Black Pearl Kings. You can try the fridge. I don't know what you have access to try to do. I've stuck them in my walk-in before for a while, but I doubt you have a...
To cold shock or just let them fruit?
To cold shock.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's... If you've got no AC, King, Black Pearl, basically you start getting... The summer becomes a very limiting season for you. Winter, you can grow anything. Summertime, you can grow like 3 things.
Yeah.
So I will say that our mini splits just went out, and we've had swing temperatures of like 80 in the day.
Yeah.
And then close to 30s, 40s at night. And this is the best I've ever seen our black pearls. I don't know. I don't know what happened or what it did, but what I would do is see. I mean, if there's any way for you to bite the bullet and just get a small unit.
Yeah.
I mean, we had 2 small units running in the place of the what we had in the meantime, and it worked well.
Well, those 2 units will still be running too until we get our 6.5 ton unit plumbed in. So
Yeah.
The only other thing I could say is that before I had my air conditioning installed, I had decent success last summer at around that temperature range. I was doing nothing but top fruiting. I don't know if that made a difference, but I could not get them to pin when I would side fruit them. And top fruiting had they would pin quicker too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only problem for me is that incubation, right? Like things get heat stressed in incubation.
If your whole farm is around that.
Yeah, they don't show. I mean, they'll show heat stress. Like, even if your grow rooms are perfect and your incubation is not, and they got heat stressed in incubation, you're still going to see heat stress in your mushrooms.
They're forevermore catching up.
Yep.
I've noticed that too, especially with chestnuts and Miyataki. That was a tough one.
Yeah.
We had some issues with that.
Yeah. So through summertime, we planted a bunch of Maitake in the spring, and then it just incubated all summer. And would not fruit through the summer, so we just kept letting it incubate. When fall came, we had a huge crop of it. So my guess is it just kind of laid low for the heat.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, no, it didn't want anything to do with it.
They got a mind of their own.
You might want to reconsider too what you're growing. Find something that is more heat tolerant.
Yep.
That's what I would do, first and foremost.
In fact, James just asked, what's your top 3 for summertime mushrooms? So... you know what? Let's let Josiah you do that one first, and then I'll do my 3.
Yeah, I mean, I'll preface it by saying this is only my second summer, and I'm really still learning. So a lot of it has just been, I get a lot of strains from you guys.
So you don't know anything.
So
noted.
Basically, I will. This is observation, not a lot of.
Sorry, Samantha was
I made
over
like
there.
a shock face, like what?
And then she was
I was
gonna,
like, smack.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all right. It's.
beat
I'm
him.
glad you understood what I was saying. So Mother of Pearl is one I go to. That thing seems to perform year round, no matter what, for me. And Mother of Pearl and King Blue seem to did well through the whole summer for me. Yeah, that
Go-to
was
for us too.
Yeah. He said 3.
He said 3.
You've
already got 2 of mine.
Yeah.
So.
I would pick it. I'll go with so the Hericium that seems to just grow no matter what for me is Bear's Head. I love doing that in kits. I love doing that. It doesn't matter.
Is it just me, or does it seem like the hotter your grow room gets, or the hotter it is outside, the sweeter Bear's Head smells? Almost very maple syrupy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Am I the only? Okay, so I'm not the only one.
Bear's Head has
I love it.
I didn't think maple syrup, but it's sweet. I get that super sweet, and as it
or like a licorice smell. A lot of oysters have a very licorice smell to me.
No, I think now that you've said it, like the maple syrup is. Yeah. So those would be my 3.
Okay. That is. So I was just going to go with oysters. I didn't know we could open it up to Hericium.
I mean, I could pick another oyster.
No.
But
I like that. So, really hot weather, I would go with Mother of Pearl, King Blue. If you want a third oyster, I would say Elmsey. But if you're talking about Hericium, most Hericium I think does pretty well in the heat. Bear's Head is incredibly tough. Dyson Sphere is one of the wild ones that we have that actually not a lot of people have tried yet. It will grow no matter how hot it is. In fact, the problem is trying to get it to grow in the wintertime. It won't grow unless your room is too hot. So
I will say on Dyson Sphere though that it's not as robust and big.
It's
as
not.
Bear's Head
It
gets.
stays smaller. Bear's Head is much bigger, much better producer.
And I feel like Dyson Sphere would benefit from having multiple openings.
Gotcha.
And kind of, maybe cut 2 squares.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
I have not tried Dyson Sphere. Yeah.
It's very poofy and frilly.
Okay.
And I've got some pictures of it. I'll have to bring those up sometime. We'll do a strain video on it, of course,
Yep.
at some point.
Yeah, I'm planning on doing it this summer. In fact, just because I can't grow it through the wintertime. So,
And so someone's also asked, speaking of farmers markets, do you guys have any general tips for new farmers market vendors for mushrooms?
okay.
Josiah has a whole list.
I was gonna say, yeah, because like this, I've not been in markets for years now, and this will be our first time back. We start in like 3 weeks at the new market, but we're not even doing any of the ones in Knoxville or anything. We're doing the Mossy Creek Market, which is literally
our hyper local hometown market.
When Samantha and I do market, I've got a cargo bike, and my plan is to just load the cargo bike up with a couple boxes of mushrooms, table, tent, run down there, just because it's so close. I will say that before I'm going to hand it off to you in a second.
Yeah, no.
Because I think that you guys have a really nice setup. But in fact, you have your setup on Instagram, right?
Let's see.
Okay, you look
I'll
at that
get
for a
it.
second.
I'll
Yeah.
get a picture. Yeah.
So, for me, I really do suggest people go into markets this year. In particular, I do think I'm not saying that there's going to be a recession. I'm not saying, but with anytime there's a chaotic amount of stuff going on in the world, I think it's a good idea to put roots down in your local community for sure. So this year we're going to be hitting markets. We're going to be hitting a couple of markets, mainly that Mossy Creek one, maybe the Dandridge one, and then after that, pretty much I'm just going to be trying to increase the amount of CSAs and local sales that I can do in general. So did you find that picture?
I'll get it.
Okay. No,
Yeah, no, the one that I have on there is like our
okay.
first original. The setup booth, I realize now, normally gets posted in stories and stuff like that. So also I legit feel like an old man when I try to use social media on my phone nowadays, but
I do too. I'm
So,
really bad at it.
yeah.
But market tips.
So, I mean, the thing is too, a lot of the tips are going to be more specific depending on like the size of your market, what you're allowed to sell at the market. So a couple of our markets only they honor cottage law, another doesn't. So you can carry dried mushrooms and things like that. Let's see. I mean, it's really I would say, man, bring a show block.
Yes.
Bring a grow block that we've had a lot of success. So some of the markets we go to are pretty busy, and even if they're not, if there isn't another mushroom vendor there, expect people to want to talk and just be interested. Something that's helped us a lot is trying to pre-package as much as we can in these. We have extra little containers that we put the mushrooms in, and having as many of those filled behind you, ready to just load the table so that you don't have to slow down. That helps.
Now, do you set everything on your table in the sun?
Yeah, we load it up fairly well. There will be 3 to 4, and we can adjust it a little, but up to 4 of the totes full, or the little baskets of each variety. So there's a good amount on the table that makes it look full. That is something they don't like, the sun. So it's if you have the ability to pick a spot to use side panels. Side panels have worked better, have gone further than like coolers. Like coolers and stuff are awesome, but it's amazing how much just keeping the sun off of it will do. But
because I would keep as much as I could kind of off into the shade and as cool as possible, and I would set out what was available in the cases on the table, and then when they started looking a little heat stressed,
So again, this is where I start thinking like every tip I give, I could contradict it if you were at a slower market.
Right.
Like, so we never have that issue because the markets are so busy right now that your table's selling, and by the time you get towards the end, then you can we do that. We'll make the decision. We'll just put one tray out there or something like that.
I actually thought about getting one of those little power generators. like I was talking to you about earlier today. And if you get like one of those, you could power a pump and just have water with you, like, and literally just mist your mushrooms on the table. It probably would not be the best thing, but it would cool. And I'm thinking, like, if you had that on a hot day at the market and you've got that mist kind of coming down, cooling the area right there by your tent, you're going to have people walking up. Now, whether or not you have people walking up that are going to purchase anything, I don't know. But
it's the same thing with thunderstorms.
Right, yeah.
When the storms kind of come through and like sprinkling rain, everyone huddles underneath the...
Ooh, I did think of, I would say spend money on a good tent if you're going to be by yourself.
Yes.
The tent that we got was well worth it because I was at the markets by myself a lot of the time. And
that's what we did too. We were like, people were buying $80 tents, and we bought like something that was a little over $200.
Yeah.
People were like, "Why would you spend that much on a tent?" But it was just like at market, we were literally pop, 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 and it was down, loaded up, and everybody else was fighting their tents. Yeah.
In fact, I had people come and help me with our tent just because they wanted to feel how easy it was to set it up. And then they would ask me, "What tent is this? Where did you get it?"
We've had to pull it up, the link up, and send it to multiple vendors there. And a lot of them they'll say, "I got the $80 tent at Walmart," and it's not even tall enough for half of them to fit under, or it blows away. Also, weights or something that is like annoying, but when it's annoying because people, we went through this season and just did the PVC concrete to do some serious but easy ones.
And they're required now too.
They're required, and it's one of those things that lots of people roll their eyes at because some farmers markets will be pretty strict and they'll try to like flag you or whatever, eventually, mark you off for not having them. But one good windstorm, we had one at the last winter market and watched people's stuff go.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
it was better to forego the tent if you in that situation, honestly.
Yeah, no kidding.
I will say that the weights that we purchased look like they were round weights, kind of the ones that you would put on the end of a bar or whatnot. And they had a slot that went through, and I made the mistake of putting all the slots in the same direction, and someone's tent bumped into my tent, and the leg just popped out of so rotate them so they're opposite. That's a good tip.
That is a tip, because I watched someone set up next to me at the market today with them all facing the same direction.
Yeah.
So.
Don't do that. Rotate them.
Lock them for sure.
Those weights are really nice, though.
I really wish they made little divots to where they would stack into each other. I think that would be a nice improvement on them. So weight companies out there, please.
There you go.
Yeah.
We'll just have to, maybe I can 3D print something that we can then fill with sand or something. It'd be custom.
Yeah.
Though it seems like that might actually be easier to just PVC and concrete.
Probably.
Another thing I'll add about those farmers markets. Sorry, they're flowing into me now.
No,
it's this is just a general, probably for life, but it's amazing how far this goes at the farmers market. Is just be as friendly and outgoing as you can to all the other farmers around you. I have had other farmers get me restaurant accounts, get me grocery stores. I've had them just give me tips. It's been incredible how willing to help people are, how excited especially if I found in my case, being younger, some of my favorite things is when the older farmers are like, glad you're here. So farmers markets are a pretty special place to be. So, I mean, take advantage of it.
One of my favorite things is like going and trading for stuff.
I love it.
Yeah. Like I miss market just because of that. It's like being able to go. Oh, there was the House of Douglas Bakery. Samantha knows exactly what I'm talking about. Oh my gosh, Eccles cakes. It is a pastry that's like an old monastery recipe from like Ireland or wherever Eccles is. I don't know. It's some place. I don't know. Don't judge me. But it's this little.
He's winging it.
I'm winging it today. But it's this little pastry that is semi-sweet. It's not like overly sweet like today's pastries and stuff, but it's stuffed with like cinnamon and raisins and a little bit of sugar, and then baked till perfection. And then basically they just kind of let them go slightly stale, I guess, or it's just, or it's that, maybe it's not even that. It's like it's like a tougher bread.
Okay.
Than what, like, it's not like that soft, like, Krispy Kreme donut texture. It's like a thick, wholesome bread.
Yeah,
but man,
tear
those
it apart.
Oh my god, yeah, those things are so good. And then of course the VG's hand pies.
VG's.
Oh,
Yeah.
but he would never trade. I always had to go pay cash for that. So
Yeah, we've broken in a little bit. He's a fan of lion's mane.
I wish I had known.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
What you have to do. So
Three Bears Coffee, which by the way you can buy online, but Three Bears Coffee.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you ever are back with VG's, the trick with Dave is he likes leaving early. So you find him at the end when he's got just a little bit, and you're like, "Hey, I'll take that off your hands." He'll probably just try to. When you see him putting all this stuff in boxes,
He's like, "Here, take
meander
this."
on by. Yeah.
And I used to like trade for vegetables, and oh my gosh, man, I never ate so well. So
Yeah.
I've gotten fat. So my plan is to like grow my own food again, bike again, and be eating, because I'm so sick of fast food. It's so gross.
Yeah.
So good though.
So easy, so good.
50-piece chicken nuggets at Wendy's, man.
Yeah.
So Eccles is an
Famous.
English town. It's it's historically part of Lancashire. I
Lancashire.
probably butchered that too.
I probably.
I'm sorry.
Glad we cleared that up.
Yep. Eccles cake.
Anyway.
I don't know if it's an Eccles cake or Eccles cake, but they're so good.
Jalen wants to know, if we're done with the farmer's market.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
And if we're not, we'll come back to it if we're not. So go ahead.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to add?
No.
I said we'd come back.
Do you use the waste from your fish tanks in your setups?
Well, did they define what setup?
No, but I'll say that we have quite a few plants that grow, and oftentimes when they're getting too robust, we will just scoop them up and mulch our other plants with them.
If they're asking like, so the fish water doesn't go to mushrooms at all. We've thought about it. In fact, something I've thought about a lot is algae is fairly easy to grow. And if you're feeding it to people, you have to be very, very careful, very sterile about that algae. But if you're not, then why not just make, an algae setup, figure out how much protein you need, hydrate your straw with algae water. Now you've got your nitrogen supplement, cook it, and you can inoculate it. So you could. But the other side of that is I don't tend to do water changes on my fish tanks at the house. Like all of my aquaponics setup, they're so heavily planted that I just top my tanks off. And most of the minerals, everything else gets eaten up so quickly. I can actually grow, our water is so devoid of nutrients, I can grow predatory plants floating in my water because, they can't take like any nutrition in their water hardly, or they'll die. That's why they can't even take tap water. So if you buy Venus flytrap from Lowe's and then you water it with tap water, it always dies. That's because you're overfeeding it. So, but like Samantha said, our fish tanks are so productive with plant matter. Like foxtail or coonstail or whatever it's called, we'll take it and it grows in like these massive. When the fish tank starts getting so full that the fish are having a hard time swimming through this stuff, we'll just fish it out and then mulch between our plants with it, and it rots down and suppresses weeds and does all that stuff. So
It retains moisture.
yep. So yes, we kind of use it in our other setups, but not the water itself.
And then Rob made a really interesting point. He said that he's been making biochar and added some biochar to rainwater and then added it to his grain spawn and did a comparison with the same grain spawn with and without the biochar. And the biochar was twice as fast. So that's interesting.
So biochar, I guess you can buy that, but activated carbon would probably perform the same task and would be easier to buy. So we should try that. I'd be willing to try it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Josiah's not giving me anything.
No, sorry. You're about to be making my grain spawn, so
Oh, that's right,
try it
yeah.
out.
Forgot about that.
I mean, actually, though, we're doing that to free it up. I mean, so that I can kind of.
Not that you were bad at making grain spawn.
No, I just now would have time to do an
Other
experiment or something like that. So, yeah, maybe I could.
Absolutely.
Heck yeah.
We're just quietly watching you think.
Are you serious?
I'm just having fun today. I'm not like.
Well, it's good to have fun.
It is.
It is. It is. You
Speak
got
into
to.
the microphone.
Well, with that, John Grady threw us for a loop.
Uh-oh.
He asked if human pee was as good as worm wee.
Do not put human pee in your fish tanks. Probably it could work if you aged it, but I wouldn't do that. The worm wee is better. It's not true wee. It's just drippings. So through the substrate. Don't look now. Hey, what are you reading?
Ah!
Who is that? Samantha.
Sorry.
You gotta come this way. There you go. Oh, it's Fungi magazine.
It's beautiful.
Oh, look at that. Does it? Oh, it actually changes stuff on camera. Yeah, you're gonna have to work a little harder at this, Maiko. You're just bad. Okay, maybe I'll take it too. Yes, I know.
I have this one at home. Be careful,
you?
it's gonna hurt.
Oh my gosh, that does actually hurt. Wow. It did make them pop out though.
It does. It looks
Yeah.
cool.
Thank you for
Those
sharing,
are-
Maiko.
That's a really neat magazine.
I like it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It that's why I got it for the shop. Like I was like, what? Why are we having a mushroom farm when I don't have Fungi magazine coming, right? Oh, poor Maiko. He's ever since childhood he's been stuck at that point in his brain development. Very childlike, very easily amused.
Yes. Poor Maiko.
Poor Maiko.
It's nice of you to give him a place.
I mean, I figure I'm all about second chances
In third.
and thirds.
Fourth.
Yeah. I mean, he tried to kill me last year, sometime around Halloween. Where I think we've worked through it, so we're good.
Yeah. I don't have a good feeling about myself.
Oh yeah, he really is taking a disliking to you.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's worrying.
Yeah, he's always kind of like creepily staring at you. So.
It's gonna be more than 3D glasses.
Well, you
one
said
of
something
these
about
days.
Buckethead one time, and I think that's
He's mad because I don't know how to read. That's all it was.
Is that all it was? Oh. Well, he ought to be nicer about that because he can't read either.
It's a weak spot. Yeah, that's what it is. It hit
That
too
you
close.
know
That's it. Hit too close.
It's the quiet ones you have to watch after.
Oh yeah, well that's true. I married one, so
That's not true. Not anymore.
not anymore. You're definitely not as quiet as you used to be.
Aw.
No, that's a good thing. I mean, is it?
Don't take it that way.
Yeah,
no.
don't-
That's a,
Yeah, now I can't get her to shut up. No.
Oh! All right, now. This
Oh,
means
man.
war. I'll recruit Maiko.
Oh gosh, no. All right, Savannah, what other questions we got for people? Oh, so T-Side says it's pronounced Eccles.
okay.
I guess so. Eccles. That would be Eccles, right? Yeah.
That's how I'd say it.
Manchester, England, Ian the Bastard says. Oh, so you guys actually know about these? These things are amazing. Why did you guys not tell me about these? Hey, did you know about hoe cakes? You should eat hoe cakes. You're welcome. Look them up and make them. Just a tit for tat.
No, there you go.
Yeah, I realized that I was yelling at them for not telling me about this, and then I didn't tell them about our bread. So
Got
you
to.
grew up around here, right?
No, I did not.
Where are you from?
I'm from all over. I was born in Nebraska, but I've gotten kind of equal parts of the country. I
Gotcha.
went all the way west. So
okay.
I was in California as a young kid, Las Vegas, New Mexico.
Gotcha.
I can take an old childhood tour and visit a bunch of these
No, I
farms
mean,
on the Discord.
We could.
That's-
You should.
Yeah.
You should video it.
There you go.
Yeah. I've been wanting to do a mushroom tour series. and just go and do like either a live stream from different farms or videos of
Both.
Yep.
There you go, both.
In fact, I'm thinking about taking my family down to the Space Coast
Okay.
to go watch rocket launch, go do Kennedy Center. But then I'm like, while I'm there, we'll just stop at a bunch of mushroom farms, take video, and
Heck yeah.
Go visit everybody.
right off the whole vacation.
Honestly, that sounds like a blast.
Right?
It really does, yeah.
I'm excited about trying it. We'll see if the IRS lets me. Oh, Ian said he'll even send me some proper Eccles cakes. So, yes, please.
Dang.
What else were we talking about? Samantha. Guide us.
Guys, help me out here. Ask more questions.
Well, there's got to be more questions. I'll go up here. I'm just going to go to a random spot. Oh, nope. Samantha asked that. Oh, the biochar. I think Samantha's really got us. In a crisis, most people will not even realize you can turn straw and wood into protein. I see high potential for mushrooms to provide food and valuable medicinals if the supply chains ever break down. You skipped that one. Sorry, John. I agree.
I thought that was a statement.
I guess it is a statement. It's a statement worth commenting on. I mean,
It is, absolutely.
I've actually been wanting to do some videos, like prepper videos, like just because the things are so popular right now. I'm like, yeah, might as well lean into it. Here's some low tech ways to produce mushrooms at home, and yeah,
There you go.
yeah. I will say too that mushrooms are not exactly good protein, which we've discussed, but they are great for amino acids, which are similar.
Yeah, and they fit in what it seems like to a bigger operation is what is really cool about them. So
Absolutely,
yeah. I did notice another comment from John. He asked if we've seen the video of the guy growing oranges in Nebraska.
Oh,
Where he uses that guy uses geothermal, which is fascinating to me. But so he forces the air from underground and grows oranges in winter.
Yeah, so you have to have like long, and my understanding is sometimes the longer you're, okay, there is a formula for how big the pipe needs to be and versus how long.
Yeah.
And for how much temperature differential you actually want to get. So the more extreme your temperature is, the longer everything's got to be. But Joey Schlegel did this at his farm before he bought Wind River.
Okay.
And I think that he built them and then never had time to use them because he bought Wind River right after.
Oh, man.
So, but I think there are some other farms that do this. The speed at which we pull air in, you have to have really long pipes. But my understanding is that it's actually a really good way because even if you got it up to like what is Earth temperature? What, like 50 something degrees?
Something like that.
Yeah.
It was high 50s, I think.
Yeah, so high 50s, and then all you got to do is boost it up just a little bit to around 65. Heck, I would grow it just 55 at that point.
Yeah.
So, and it'd make a huge difference on your energy bill, just running a fan.
I mean, you're basically just redirecting a cave up to you. It's
it's beautiful.
It is. That's funny. I haven't seen many YouTube videos or whatever, but I've seen that guy.
You have?
Yeah.
Oh, you've actually
It's-
seen that one?
No, the one with that guy growing, he's out in the middle. He's not even in like the populated part of Nebraska. He's in Nebraska, like in the middle of nowhere out towards Colorado.
Okay.
In a tiny little town. And busting out oranges in the middle of the winter with it's in like with the greenhouse covered in snow.
It's funny.
So cool.
The chat's got such a delay on it. He literally just said, "Gonna ask again. Have you guys seen the video?"
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know why it's delaying so much. But yeah, if you don't have an AC, there you go.
Yeah, I like that.
It seemed to me,
Thanks, John.
I think in the video I remembered him watching or talking about startup. I mean, just the installation of that is, and like you said, it sounds like there's a pretty, I don't know how complicated it is, but the formula to make sure everything needs to be planned out and done correctly, that was a little cost prohibitive. And,
Yeah.
But I don't know if you can, I really like that idea.
it's I like it because all of the cost is up front.
Mm-hmm.
Once you've got it done, then it's the investment that just continually it'll pay off. Well, luckily, if you take care of it, I mean, it'll be taking care of your grandkids and your great grandkids. I mean, that kind of investment, which I freaking love.
I wonder about its viability around here with basically karst topography and everything's limestone and caves, and that you might honestly find a cave easier. That
I mean, we have East Tennessee is famous for our caves, and I didn't actually know this until I had a guy come to my house. It was actually one of the times I had a fan just pull up to my house without telling me, and I had no idea how they got my address. But he had a bunch of wild mushrooms. I did end up buying them, and then whenever I was buying them out of his trunk, I saw all of his caving gear, and I was like, "Oh, you're doing spelunking?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I'm just down here for the weekend." I was like, "Oh, I kind of thought you lived around here with bringing me mushrooms." He's like, "No, I just wanted to come caving down here." He's like, "East Tennessee, there's all these famous caves," and I was like, "Oh shoot, there's like less than a mile from my house, there was this cave my friends and I would go hang out in, all the time. That was under the road.
Yeah.
So every time a car drove by, you could hear it over you, But
yeah, I was just talking to one of my chefs this week that went out and went to the underground sea out there, which is
I've never been.
It's
cool. I've always wanted to go. Samantha, you want to take the kids to the underground sea?
Yes.
Let's do it.
There you go.
Is it expensive?
I mean, I don't know what it is now. I mean, it's like...
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Everything's more expensive now.
I think you'll be okay with it.
Yeah, I'd say so. Wait till Andrew discovers Kindle mint cake. Somebody write that down.
Yeah, I was just going to say...
I don't have a pen. I've got to...
And
I want all...
Yeah.
I want all of these. Also, John said, I'm curious why plants grow well on fish pee and poo, but human waste wouldn't. Not saying they eat things grown directly from it, but curious how to use my own waste as a fertility resource. So, actually, John Grady, look up, what's the name of that thing, Samantha? The biodigester I got? It's biodigester. Look it up. There's
Biogas, home biogas.
Home biogas. Look at home biogas. They have like a unit, like in one end goes human waste. Like they have a toilet kit that comes with it so that you can use that directly. Your pee and poo goes in there. It makes gas for you to cook on.
Ew.
And then it comes out pretty safe to handle. You just put that on your crops after, and there you go.
What does that gas smell like?
It actually doesn't smell like anything. If it's run well, it doesn't smell like anything. If it's overloaded, it will smell kind of like sewage.
It's like the proper way to make the street oil they talk about in China,
right?
The gutter oil.
The gutter oil.
So wait, this toilet setup connects directly to it, so you make like a outhouse that you go to.
Yeah, or like people who have RVs.
Yeah, okay.
We'll install the.
There you go.
Yep, and then they can produce all their own natural. It's just methane. So, and I mean, we have the restaurant-sized one out back for the mushrooms to go into. So now we poked a hole in it, and so we're trying to repair that. But that said, that would be the way to go. The reason why human pee and poo and all that stuff doesn't work like directly to fish tanks, like microbes and insects and all that stuff too, is because of where we're at on the food chain. We're so high up. Our stuff is so concentrated. I mean, my grandfather, when I grew up in the country, right? Like we grew up on acres and acres. If Gramps wanted a thistle killed, he just told all the boys, "Hey, go pee on that thistle," and we would all go do it. Like all the cousins and everything. Like, we just peed outside. That's what we did growing up. So you just knew which thistle was the one being killed, and you'd go pee on it. Like that as a 6-year-old, that was like the most freeing experience in the world. Just go out in the front yard and just whiz all over the place.
There you go. Andrew, what are you doing out there?
I'm killing thistles. It doesn't work so well in my current neighborhood. My neighbors really did not like it. Man.
Yeah, we have thistles everywhere.
Yeah. Well, freaking neighbors and cops. I'm just playing.
Just trying to be natural.
Yeah, come on. What happened to that? Let's see. Trying to figure out when to fruit a block, since colonization seems complete against the plastic, but not if you break up the block. So to me, that sounds like a hot core. I don't know anything else about the setup, but I have noticed that like if your blocks are getting too hot, they get hot in the middle from all in fact, it might be bacterial that's causing the heat buildup. But when you break it up, see if it feels warm in the center. If it feels warm in the center, that's why the mycelium's not going there. It's just too hot.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I thank you
You're welcome.
for the more in-depth explanation. I've figured this out, but yeah.
Yeah, it's
I've experienced this recently as well.
Have
We've
you?
had to cool incubation down a minute.
That's one of the reasons why we do the hand between each block in the
Exactly.
summertime.
Yeah.
Well, and we squish the blocks
Yes.
to where they're quite vertical.
When we put them,
They get
you
padded
pad
in.
it up. Yeah.
Yep.
That way, it's got a thinner core.
Yep. I like to do that too because it just makes the inevitable cut easier.
Yeah.
If you shape it and make it nice on there, so you
makes it a lot easier.
looking
just
out
to-
for the future you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the same thing with when you're closing up bags. Make sure that you get air from the HEPA filter in there, so it's easier to shake.
Yes.
Take care of the
yes
the shaker.
Yeah. If I don't get air in there, I mean, actually, it's Jackie that taught me the name of those, the SOB bags, because you SOB, why would you do this to me? And now I just joke that I'm going to set these on the rack behind me for the person that did it to shake when they get done.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny too because we call them vacuum pack bags a lot of times because it's like they vacuum pack themselves. But oh my gosh, trying to shake those things is I would rather just cut it open and reset it than to try to shake one of those freaking things.
We've been having our bottom gussets go way too freaking often now, and that's they turn into a vacuum bag, and that's we've basically been doing that.
When you come across a batch like that, there's nothing really you can do other than just work your way through it. Yeah, yeah, just take it. That's all you got.
Yeah, yep.
There's not really a good solution beyond that, unfortunately.
What's crazy with it too is they feel thicker. They are thicker. It's one of those everywhere else, but it's almost like it. I don't know. Yeah, except for in the gusset. Yeah.
Yeah. We used to try to pull them out and then like shake the substrate down and then like try to reseal it right there, but it never worked. Never worked well at all. So.
Do you just send it? Do you toss them at that point? You just send it.
Yep.
Okay.
And here's the thing, like people shake it to the best of their ability, and we do have a technique. At least I do. I don't know. I'm hoping everybody out on the floor has been taught it, but where when it gets vacuum packed, you kind of smash everything out as best you can. You create this little tent setup by picking up the center of the bag, and then you try to shake the grain down. And then I kind of just knead it like dough.
Like dough, yeah.
But just one time around, and then I shelve it. And it's like, well, if that bag grows half in, whatever.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna fight it. So that's the only thing I can think of there. Oh crap! I just saw this. And I don't know where it went. The question, everything.
So Med asked if there was any chance that we know where they can get LC or spores for.
That's what I was looking
Europe.
for Europe. Okay, Mycopia, I think is in Denmark. Nope, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Mycopia, MYCOPIA. What is that? Is that mine? That was mine.
That was you.
I'm bad
You guys
at
are
this.
on a roll.
I really
Making
am.
me look good today.
I am. That was my
I'm
mission.
gonna leave all my phones on next week. I've stockpiled some credit.
And then I was gonna say, dare me to say something.
Yeah.
Just say something.
What, Andrew? I'm gonna call myself just to make it go.
Oh man. So Geraldine said, "Oh, it's not just us having gussets lose their strength." Yeah, that's kind of everywhere. That's you'll get a batch, and they come in waves.
Seriously, yeah.
It's not Mycopia because on their website it says grows more varieties of organic, culinary, and nutraceutical mushrooms than any farm in America.
No, not. Okay. Maybe I said that wrong.
Now, we have had quite a few people reach out to us from different places, and if we could get strains to them, they propagate it and basically start an LC and spawn a company from there.
You're right. Mycopia is in the States. It's okay. I don't remember which company then. Sorry.
I will say on the Discord there is a Europe group, and there's a lot of talk in that group, where to buy things and where
There you
to
go.
source stuff, and so it's pretty active. Might go jump in there real quick.
Well, yeah. I think while I'm streaming, I can't build another page on the program because otherwise I would just pull it up in the Discord and show. But I'll have to practice with that for next live stream because we're winging it, but it's already 4:31. So let's find a way to close this. Anybody want to be the last question?
The last question.
Okay, here we go. You have Prometheus, not Thor, but you should still do it. Oh, the company's called Mycelia, and they're in Germany. Thank you so much, Daniel.
There we go.
Okay. Mondo, Dr. Jerkface, I mean, says all the bottom sub in my bags made by Thor are too wet and not colonizing. How do I fix this? So I will say, just for my sake, you can tune your water down a little bit. That means your substrate probably has some moisture content. But yeah, just shorten your water pipe on the Thor. The other way is, like, just to deal with the bags you've already made, you may have to shake them again, or just flip them upside down and fruit them and just say that last inch is given up. It'll probably colonize by your second flush. So, do you have any experience with Prometheus and...
Everything adjusting it is more difficult because it wasn't meant to necessarily. So I have not had to tune the water. The only thing I've really had to adjust was one of the, we talked about the smaller soy holes required me to just mess with the hammer a tiny bit, which is still pretty easy. It slides right out. And yeah, I didn't take it apart since I was making it smaller. I just added something in,
like a block in there.
Yep, yeah, exactly, until I got it right. So yeah, okay, yeah, that sounds like what it is, though.
Yep.
And then probably it took me forever to get myself to do it, but maybe you can test your substrate for the moisture content too.
Yeah, that's something I was going to suggest is, and the way you test it is simply take make it easy on yourself, something like do 10 grams.
I was going to say I've heard it to do it like 100 or 10 grams.
Yeah, 100 is what I was going to go with, but like 10 would be a smaller amount. So 100 would give you a more accurate reading. 10 is going to give you a quick reading. Get like 10 grams of your substrate, but do not add water. Microwave it for 30 seconds. Weigh it again. Keep doing that over and over again and writing down how much weight you've lost, and then when it stops losing weight on your 30 seconds to a minute, then you know how much you've cooked all the water out of it. Now you know what your water content is. If it comes down to 7 grams, you know you got 30% water by weight in your sub, and that means that you would only really need to hydrate it another 30% to make it 60%.
Yep.
So good advice there, Josiah. Yes, Samantha?
So someone mentioned mycelia. Another person mentioned Kaizen cordyceps in Europe. And then someone else mentioned superspore.
Okay, I don't know either of those. I know mycelia. And I recommend mycelia. We have imported cultures from mycelia before. And then Steve Schultz says Eric Myers has a YouTube video on earth tube cooling as well.
Okay.
So I've not watched that.
I haven't either.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like a great way to end it then with that advice. So thanks for winging it with us, guys. Samantha, you got anything to say on the way out? No? Good enough, Josiah?
My phone didn't go off.
Thanks,
guys.
The stream will be here forever, and now everyone shall know my shame.
Also, someone make a clip of Andrew saying he's not going to feed worms to people because 5 years from now I want to see him eat
my goodness.
the worms.
Okay. I didn't say that I wouldn't feed them to people. I said that I wouldn't eat them.
You can eat your worms.
I'm probably going to eat the worms.
Eat your worms.
We can make you a patty of the mushrooms and the worms. And protein, amino acids.
If it gets me to Mars, let's do it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. All right. Everybody, we'll see you on Mars.